TWA Flight 847 was en route from Athens to Rome this morning when it was hijacked.
Who are the hijackers? We know they are supposed to be Lebanese Shiite Muslims. We do not know how many. They are demanding the release of Shiite Lebanese prisoners who are in Israeli jails.
The plane's carrying 153 passengers and crew members.
They are beating the passengers. They are beating the passengers. They are threatening to kill them now.
A passenger identified as an American is shot and killed by the hijackers and thrown out of the plane.
In the summer of 1985, as the world was bathed in the warm embrace of sunny days, a Boeing 727-231 embarked on what seemed like an ordinary journey. This is the story of the TWA Flight 847 hijacking, 1985. Departing from the bustling city of Cairo, this aircraft promised passengers an intercontinental adventure of a lifetime. With scheduled layovers in some of the world's most iconic cities, Athens, Rome, Boston, and Los Angeles. The anticipation in the air was palpable as travelers looked forward to exploring new horizons, reuniting with loved ones, or simply indulging in the joy of travel. However, little did they know that this flight would descend into the abyss of one of the most chilling hijackings in the annals of aviation history. As the aircraft taxied down the runway in Athens, Greece, on that fateful morning of June 14, 1985, the sun's first rays painted the sky with hues of gold and orange. It was a picturesque start to what should have been an uneventful journey. Two dark figures, fluent in Arabic and harboring sinister intentions, had infiltrated the passengers and crew, suspected to be affiliated with the notorious Hezbollah.
Who are the hijackers? We know they are supposed to be Lebanese Shiite Muslims. We do not know how many.
Their presence on board was the harbinger of doom. The demands they whispered sent shivers down the spines of everyone aboard, a cold, chilling command for the immediate release of 700 Shia Muslims imprisoned in Israeli custody.
They are demanding the release of Shiite Lebanese prisoners who are in Israeli jails.
This demand began a chilling ordeal that would test the limits of human endurance. For the passengers and crew of Flight 847, their expectations of a routine flight were shattered instantly. The hijackers wasted no time in seizing control of the aircraft, establishing an atmosphere of terror that would grip those aboard for days. Threats, intimidation, and brutal physical violence became their tools of control.
They are beating the passengers. They are beating the passengers. They are threatening to kill them now. They are threatening to kill them now. We want the fuel now, immediately.
Passengers merely moments ago, strangers shared a journey, found themselves united by fear, trapped in a tense atmosphere where survival became their sole focus. Amid this horrifying descent into chaos, those with Jewish-sounding names were singled out for the ruthless treatment, their identities painting targets on their backs. However, the true horror had not yet fully revealed itself. After an uneventful leg from Cairo to Athens, a new crew took over, stepping into their roles unaware of the nightmarish ordeal that awaited them. Among them were Captain John Testrake, First Officer Phil Maresca, Flight Engineer Christian Zimmerman, and a cadre of courageous flight attendants, including Judy Cox, Hazel Hesp, Elizabeth Howes, and Helen Sheehan. The turning point in this harrowing saga arrived during the flight from Athens to Rome. With cold precision, the two hijackers, Mohammed Ali Hamadi and his shadowy accomplice, brandished a pistol and ingeniously concealed grenades. Storming the cockpit, in an instant control was wrestled from the crew, leaving Captain Testrake, First Officer Maresca, and Flight Engineer Zimmerman battered and bloodied, their lives hanging by a tenuous thread. Panic coursed through the aircraft like an electric shock. As the hijackers wrested command of the plane, a collective grasp of fear swept through the passengers. The flight was no longer under the control of the cockpit crew, and its trajectory had deviated from its intended course to Rome. Instead, it was headed directly into the heart of the Middle East, a region steeped in turbulence and conflict. The aircraft's ominous destination, Beirut International Airport in Lebanon, a city deeply embroiled in the relentless turmoil of the Lebanese civil war. Tensions soared as the aircraft descended upon Beirut. Air traffic control initially balked at granting landing rights, paralyzed by the fear of confronting armed hijackers. Captain Testrake, his voice quivering with desperation, pleaded for permission to land. He has pulled a hand grenade pin, and he is ready to blow up the aircraft if he has to. We must, I repeat, we must land in Beirut. No alternative.
Beirut, the hijacker has pulled the pin on his hand grenade. He will land at Beirut. He is desperate.
Beirut International Airport, once a symbol of connectivity, had transformed into a place of treacherous uncertainty. It was surrounded by a Shia neighborhood devoid of perimeter security, overrun by Islamist militias. Nearby residents could quickly drive onto the runway, making it a precarious and volatile environment. During this unscheduled stop in Beirut, the hijackers shifted their focus from the cockpit to the passengers, unleashing a systemic wave of brutal beatings that targeted military personnel.
This time at Beirut, the stop is short and deadly. A passenger, identified as an American, is shot and killed by the hijackers and thrown out of the plane.
Amid this horrifying chaos, they singled out their next victim, U.S. Navy diver Robert Stetham. Stetham endured a relentless torrent of brutality, culminating in a gunshot wound to his right temple. His lifeless body was callously discarded onto the airport apron, a grim testament to the hijackers' unyielding resolve. The fate of the passengers and crew hung in the balance as the hijackers issued chilling demands, their voices carrying the weight of a tempest. Their demands were as follows: the release of the Kuwait 17, individuals implicated in the 1983 bombing of the U.S. Embassy in Kuwait, the liberation of 766 predominantly Lebanese Shia prisoners held in Israel's Atlit prison, and an immediate withdrawal of Israeli forces from southern Lebanon. The international condemnation of Israel and the United States loomed large, casting a shadow over the hostages' fate. In a twist of fate, the Greek government released one of the hijackers' accomplices, Ali Atwa, in a controversial exchange for 8 Greek citizens, including the renowned Greek pop singer Damis Roussos. As the days stretched into agonizing weeks, 40 hostages remained captive in Beirut under the iron grip of Hezbollah. Nabi Berri, chief of the Amal militia and minister of justice in Lebanon's fragmented cabinet, held their fate in his hands. Although one hostage was released on June 26 due to health concerns, the remaining 39 endured grim captivity until June 30th. Their eventual release was orchestrated through a dramatic intervention by U.S. President Ronald Reagan, in close coordination with Lebanese officials. As the freed hostages stepped into the blinding light of freedom, they were greeted by a world eager to hear their harrowing tales. They gathered and met with international journalists in a local schoolyard, recounting their stories of survival. Their safe passage to the Sheraton Hotel in Damascus, Syria, was ensured by the International Red Cross, where a press conference awaited them. From there, they boarded a U.S. Air Force C-141B Starlifter cargo plane, setting course for the Rhein-Main Air Base in Hesse, West Germany. As they touched down, they were greeted by U.S. Vice President George H.W. Bush, who welcomed them home. In the wake of this high-profile crime, Israel released over 700 Shia prisoners. However, they maintained that their release was unrelated to the hijacking. Yet the truth behind this dark chapter remains shrouded in mystery and intrigue. Some alleged perpetrators faced various fates with arrests and convictions, while others remained fugitives. Hezbollah, much like in countless other acts of terror attributed to the group, consistently denied involvement in the hijacking, leaving the world with more questions than answers. The hijacking of Transworld Airlines Flight 847 was not just an aviation incident, it was a spine-chilling crime that pushed the passengers and crew to the brink, tested the limits of international diplomacy, and left an indelible scar in history. It serves as a stark reminder of the enduring impact of acts of terror committed against innocent civilians in the pursuit of sinister political or ideological goals. As the world continues its relentless march forward, the memory of those dark days remains etched in the annals of time, a testament to the unbreakable human spirit in the face of unfathomable adversity. The hijacking of TWA Flight 847 must never be forgotten. It serves as a haunting reminder of the enduring threat of terrorism and the need for unwavering vigilance. The innocent lives forever changed by those 17 days should be honored and remembered. Robert Stetham, the brave young man who made the ultimate sacrifice, should always be in our thoughts, and the heroes who emerged from the chaos should remind us that the human spirit can prevail even in the face of evil. The legacy of TWA Flight 847 symbolizes resilience, unity, and enduring hope for a world where such acts of terror are but distant memories. In the end, it's a story of triumph over terror, heroes emerging from the shadows, and the resilience of the human spirit when faced with the darkest hours.